of very, very prestigious youth activists. And the newest youth activist, Barrington Foster from Brooklyn College Academy. I turn it over to you for the morning. Thank you.
Woo! Good morning, everyone. As I was introduced, my name is Barrington Foster, and I go to Brooklyn College Academy, and this is my first year at MCMC, so, big step for me. I'll be presenting our wonderful activist panelists. But first, I hope you guys, if you guys have Brianna Sia from Generation Vote. Raymond Contreras from activist and founder of Youth Over Guns. Adina Greenwich from policy analyst and Capstone DC. Lena Nordstrom from Vote Captain. Jonathan Pilot from We Are All 18. Shai Ante Singletary from Youth Engagement Fund. And last but not least, Sophie Mode from Teens Take Charge. So I was wondering if you guys could pass around the mic and just give a little description of what you do and kind of who you are as activists.
Good morning. Hello, good morning. Yes, this is youth in action right here. Okay? So, my name's Jonathan Pilot. It's like pilot with 2 L's. And I am a former entertainment attorney and a film producer and director. And my approach to voting has transformed into what we are calling 18. Hashtag we are all 18. So if any of you do have your phones out, which you're probably not supposed to do, but remember this, we'd love you to follow us on Instagram. So 18 is using media, using personal storytelling, and live events to kind of bring together the best of what olders and youngers have to do, which is what's embodied here today as well. And we're not as much about voting as we are about empowering young people. And so we are an intergenerational approach to empowering youth because we believe that if we focus in on the youth, everybody of any age is that. So we're developing a channel and a platform and really creating sort of what we hope is a media brand that will really connect people of all ages instead of in silos of age, because we're all in this together. And the leaders here, I'm sure had, who are older than 18 or teenagers, these guys are really in solidarity with what we're about, which is really transcending boundaries and finding the connective tissue. And the best way that I know how to do that is through storytelling and personal narrative and inspiration. And we're also doing a road trip around the country to get people out of their bubbles and make otherness not seem so scary to people around the country. So I'd love to connect with anybody here because we really are all about partnering with young people to help them help us reach you, because nobody's figured it out before. So.
Hi, my name is Sophie Mode. Sophie Mode. This is in high school, and I'm part of an organization called Teens Take Charge, which is working for educational integration and equity. So at Teens Take Charge, we're working to make sure not only all schools are integrated, but also that all students are given an equal opportunity. And so we do that through student testimony, so giving students the chance to share their story and promote their voices, because they are the ones who are being affected by this issue, and their stories the ones that need to be told. We also do this through meetings with our policymakers, really showing them that we are the ones being affected by this issue and they need to take action immediately. Specifically with me, I am one of the team leaders of the press team, so we write articles to specifically highlight issues facing youth in schools today and addressing. I've written an article specifically recently on how the media has not done the best job highlighting educational issues, how they don't always include actual student voice and representation of the students who are directly affected by these issues. We also write articles to really show the perspectives of students who are affected by going to a segregated high school where they don't have the resources that so many others do. And also I, with another friend of mine, Tiffany Torres, we do a testimony really highlighting our experiences in the school system. So I come from a very privileged background, and even though she's a very similar age that I am, she has had a completely different experience that I do. So we share our testimony together to really show the exact differences that just your neighborhood and the school you go to can have on your experience.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
Yeah, it's early, I know. So my name is Ramon Contreras. I'm 20 years old. I am a student activist and the founder of Youth Over Guns, which is an organization that I created to bring more awareness to gun violence in Black and brown communities. As we know, after a series of unfortunate events and just tragedies that happened around gun violence, there was a spark of a youth movement, right? Particularly after the Parkland shooting. And I felt like an issue that has been going on for years in majority Black and brown communities did not get the attention it deserved when students were organizing around it, but when it happened in a more affluent white community, then the media and everyone wanted to, hop on board and be part of this movement. So the point of my organization was to bring more awareness and shed light to the injustices that we have been facing for years. And I did a huge march across the Brooklyn Bridge where 10,000 people came out as we carried a casket to symbolize the deaths in our community. From there, I traveled the country with March for Our Lives. I was their national field strategist for the 2018 midterm election. So I built the strategic infrastructure to get young people to the polls, working with all different types of nonprofits in over 100 plus chapters across the country, trying to engage youth in the most creative way possible. So other than that, I'm just like a regular kid trying to get into college right now, and just trying to figure out my life and what I want to do next, and just going around the city and country speaking to amazing students like you guys. So I'm ready to have this amazing discussion with you all.
Can you hear me? Oh, great. My name is Lila Nordstrom, and I founded an organization called Vote Captain. Essentially, what we do at Vote Captain is try to provide any of the information resources that somebody who wants to do peer-to-peer outreach in their community could possibly need, but might not know that they need to look up, might not realize is information that they would need to pass along. And then we sort of encourage people to appoint themselves vote captains in their community and define their community however they need to. It can be your family, it can be your physical community, it can be at your school, and decide that they will take responsibility for making sure that people in their community are aware of when elections are coming up, are registered to vote, know who's on the ballot, understand what propositions are on the ballot, and actually have the means to get to the polls. And then also have someone to call if they need to troubleshoot something at the polls. So if somebody gets to the polls and they're not on the rolls, that they have a resource that they can call instead of just walking out of the polling station. So we basically tried to create as information dense and easy to comprehend a resource about voting as we could. The voting laws are actually fairly complicated. They're especially complicated if you're talking about voting laws that aren't in your state. They're very complicated for college students. They're very complicated for groups of people that we traditionally ignore in the electoral process. And so we wanted to make it easy for people to appoint themselves the experts and figure out how to reach the people in their communities, especially if they come from communities that traditional voter outreach is not accessing, and making sure that everyone that they have access to is somebody who is making an informed and productive vote. And so we started a website and we're doing workshops, and we are obviously looking for ways to connect to other youth leaders so that we can help, sort of take this, expand this way of thinking about voting, and help people who are already excited about being involved in the political process, and especially people who are excited but are fairly new to the political process, figure out what the most helpful information you can give somebody if, when you want them to vote is.